Good evening and welcome everybody to another edition of the Music and Mixing Show. I am your host, DJ Michael Joseph. It has been a long time since I've been on here, and we're back tonight. We're talking about virtual DJ. Don't have a lot to talk about, but I'm also here to answer your questions. There's a question in the chat already. Again, we're running a chat, and if you guys don't know, we always take a couple minutes at the beginning of the show to welcome everybody in the chat, see who's viewing, because we tend to get a lot of international viewers. But someone popped a question in the chat from over on Facebook. I can only see the name Facebook user. It said, are you guys going to MEX? I am not. I don't know about anybody else. I don't even know if I will go to anything next year. So let me throw that in there ahead of time. I don't know if I'm even going. So Robin's here. Thank you, Robin, for coming in. Steve Slick, what's going on? A few people chatting. We're broadcasting on 10 different places tonight. And I'm trying new earbuds, and I'm not happy with them. So, but tonight we're talking about virtual DJ questions. We'll probably talk about a few other things because there's some other stuff going on in the industry. Stuff like that. We're going to, handle your questions as we go along. We still want to welcome everybody. So if you're tuned in tonight and you are viewing from somewhere far away from other than where I'm at, holler at me where you're from and I'll give a shout out. That sort of thing. That's what we do for the first couple of minutes. And then we talk about some things. And I have a few things that I'm going to talk about before, the questions or anything like that. But we definitely got some good stuff there. DJ Wrist, I can't even talk. DJ Rich Post from New York, from Rochester, New York. Welcome. What's going on? Seeing who's there. Facebook user says, good luck with the show. Thank you. I don't know as we go into other stuff how the show's going to go beyond this one. I'm still, for those of you who don't know, I'm working on a book, and I plan on having it out either Cyber Monday or the day after Cyber Monday. I haven't decided yet, and I'm down to just the final few things now. The book's going to be released. There's going to be a line of T-shirts, the different things that have to do with beyond just the book, beyond the brand of I Am MJ, and Michael Joseph is going to be out. There's going to be a lot of cool things from other stuff and other creative parts of my life, and I'm kind of just going to be expanding upon that, and I don't know where the DJ stuff's going to go to. I'm still going to be here doing stuff the same that I was, but the industry's changing, and that's one of the things I think right now is the toughest, is how much it's changing and how quickly it's changed, and not sure where it's all going to go to. So I also want to say hello to Dave Arwood from Columbus, Georgia, DJ Galaxy from Wisconsin. Facebook user says book name and topics. Oh, okay. When I first glanced at that, I'm like, what? I'm not giving away the title or anything like that, but basically it is my view of my creative life that I've went on, but in an encouraging way, because I have spent my entire life in the entertainment world in one way or another. And DJ Galaxy from Chicago, Wisconsin, what's going on there? But I realized during 2020 that all those years I thought I was chasing fame and fortune, it was just me wanting to be creative. And the book is about me realizing what was important to me and kind of realizing all the times in life I had diverted from that path to do what I thought I was supposed to do. And it's all about encouraging people to stick to the thing they love, because you might not make everything you made before, but there's a wealth that goes beyond money that I can't. It's just tough to explain when I break it down in the book and how all those things become important to me. So basically, it's just a journey through all the things I've done. When I was younger, my parents owned their arts and crafts store, so I did drawing. I had drawings in national competitions, in the school yearbook, in the school newspaper. all kinds of stuff through the years of being a vocal artist, and I was DJing all along here or there. I never intended to be a DJ, just what people just kept paying me to be a DJ. But there's a long journey, and I'm just now kind of going to take this time with the book, and I'm redoing the website and doing everything, and I'm just celebrating it all. If you don't know, I put out a bunch of albums in the past, and 2 months ago, I put one of my old albums that was released in 2002 out on all the streaming services. So you can go and search any of the streaming services for DJ Michael Joseph in the Mix, and you can hear the whole album. And the whole album is all original songs, 100% original songs. So go and check that out. Again, DJ Michael Joseph in the Mix. DJ Blue Blue Azul from the tip of Texas, Rio Grande. Oh, very cool. I had a friend that lived out that way. He loved it. He lived a lot of places. That was one for someone who lived a lot of those places. He liked that one because he worked on the Alaskan pipeline and all kinds of stuff. But he talked a lot about that. So yeah, very cool. Must be the name at MJ. I don't even know what that means, Mike. All right, so let me hit a couple things that I think are important with Virtual DJ, and then you guys can hit me with questions here. Let me share the left screen, and I will move me out of the way. I just updated. We'll zoom. Move me back over here, and we will zoom. I just updated the program that I broadcast with, and it has really improved some things and made it easier. So these are some of the, I think they're the standard log. Yeah, these are some of the standard log updates that have went in there. And they made some improvements working with the CDJs, improvements with computing stems, and it's how it works stems. And right now, since Serato has put out stems and Rain is coming out with their Rain 4 that has dedicated stem effect stuff. For me, it's old school because Virtual's had stems for over 2 years, and I've been using them that long, and I absolutely love it. So a lot of this stuff is catch up and change, and some of the ones I think are kind of important depending on what you're doing, and that's why I want to kind of point them out tonight here. They added a VST effects folder, and basically what a VST is a special effects, and it's usually used in a lot of the digital audio workstations. It's not used in, I think, where did I read that at? If I have that note still up. It's not used in Pro Tools in someone else, but it is used in other things like Ableton and Cubase and different things like that. And you've always, within Virtual, always been able to drag and drop VSTs. These are effects into Virtual. Just drag and drop them and use them in Virtual the same as you would use them anywhere else. So I was able to use stems in Virtual years ago, but there just wasn't dedicated buttons for it on the program interface itself. So all effects that if you have, because I'm running the 64-bit Virtual, and if you have a 64-bit VST, it will work in Virtual. You drag and drop. Before, you would just drag and drop into the effects folder. Now they've added a VST effects folder to kind of keep them kind of separate. So I think that's kind of neat. And this is a big one, I think, and I thought Virtual always did this, and I apologize if it did, and I'm just reading this now. But a VST3 is basically like a VST, but the main thing is it doesn't pull as much resources. So a VST is always on. So if you're running through Ableton doing a multi-track and you have VSTs laid up, they're pulling RAM all the time. Always, always, always pulling. And the VST3s only pull when they're in use. So for us as DJs using these, supporting the VST3s makes a big deal because it's not pulling extra resources from your computer when they're not actually being used. And I really like that. You know, like I said, was you doing stems, and if your stems are VST3 stem or whatever effect like that, it's not pulling as much. And I think that's kind of important there. Further down, you're going to see support for Denon Prime Go, which is the small one. Denon is coming out with 2 more similar devices like the Prime 4 and the Prime 2. That are a little bit different with some extra stuff, but it's still that kind of standalone with a screen on them. And this updates is to be able to work smoother with those things. So pay attention to that. If that's what you use, it's going to be a little bit better here. And one here that's coming up, and I don't know if this one's, since this one's out, it's the Stem Creator for producers creating their own pre-computed stems for the original stem. And this is basically a plug-in area of yours where you can open up a Stem Creator, and because Virtual gives, unlike Virtual DJ, Serato does not give you the option to, when you load a track, compute the stems and then not keep them. So every time someone in Serato loads a track and runs stems, it is saving 4 files. So now they have 5 files the size of the original. So now every single time they run a track with stems, they have 5 files for, I think it's beat, bass, instrument, and vocal, and then the full track. And they're all the same size because they're doing them as waveforms. So now every track in their library that they run as a VST, they now have 5 of them, taking up a lot more space. With Virtual, it gives you the option to do it that way, or to do scan when you load it and then let it go when it's done. So that's the way I run it. So I load a track, it scans for VSTs, I run VSTs, and then when I load the next one, it dumps those 4, doesn't save them, doesn't take up space, it dumps them. But Serato doesn't allow you to do that. Serato holds it on there, and that's what some of these, that you have a choice in Virtual with the Stem Producer to do stuff with that. So I think that's kind of important too. And then they're doing some stuff with the shaders in the Mac M1, which is important. Different things like that. So let me jump back to here, and we'll hit a lot of people popping up with questions. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I started DJing to DJ for my grandfather's family, and I'm DJing this Friday for my grandfather's. He's turning 99. Oh wow, very cool. That's awesome. I have a student, because I teach classes through Guitar Center, and I have a student who took classes to DJ her friend's birthday party. So I think it's cool that, yeah, I've had several students that did that, and it's a great place to start and have fun with it. You don't have to pursue it as a career. You understand that within the DJ world, only 7% of people who call themselves a DJ full time. Like the numbers they gave was 75 to 100% of their income comes from DJing. So everybody else is part-time, and that part-time can be someone who enjoys just DJing at home for fun, or small parties for like a grandfather or like her friend or brother. Those are all fun things to do too, and that's what a lot of this is building off of people who like it on that level. So yeah, absolutely, that's awesome. Mikey Mike says, I'm into art DJing pen and ink. I would love to see how someone DJs pen and ink. Okay, it'd be like them drawing with MP3s. So cool. Facebook user says, what are your favorite stem mixes, and do you use them? Do you use the action cues or other more advanced programming? If so, what are your common uses? And that's an interesting thing, and I think I'm going to be able to show this here. Yeah, so we're going to go back here real quick to zoom. And if you look at, and I think I might be able to zoom in further on this. Give me a second here. All right, so if you look at my high, mid, and low, make sure that's showing. Yeah, that's showing. You'll see that my high, mid, and low are vocal, instrument, and beat. And this is what I DJ with now. When I was running the 7000, it had 4 channels. So my inner 2 channels on the channels that I was playing music out of ran the high, mid, low. And then the outer 2 channels ran these, vocal, instrument, and beat. So they're blended. It's a stem split, but it's a blended, not just drums, it's beat. So it's a little bit different. And since I switched to the Rain 1, which is a 2 channel, I then programmed a MIDI map button to flip back and forth on those 3, high, mid, low, or stems. Those stems, because there are other stems that you can set up for them. I think this is called, I don't remember what it's called. It's something new. But since switching to that, that's all I use now. So when I blend what I would blend before high, mid, and low, I only use these. So if I'm mixing a track coming in, and I want to, let's say this track right here is, let's say this track right here is out. Let me readjust this again. There we go. So this track's out and this track's playing. So my beat is on. As I'm getting ready to mix, I'll bring this down so that you don't have two basses hitting at the same time. But this just doesn't pull out the bass tones. This pulls out the beat. So it leaves the other two sounding much clearer. So as I get ready to mix, then I will turn this up, zero that out, bring this one down, and now I'm mixing out. And then, as this one's up, we bring this one out. And just like I used my lows before, I'm now using the drums, the beat, to do that transition, including as I'm mixing out. Let's say I'm mixing out of this one. I will back off this way, pardon me, and this way, and isolate the vocal over this one's intro. So I'm kind of using it the way I've always blended, but I feel that using these instead of the other is a lot, and I mean a lot better than the high, mids, and lows. I really, really love it doing this way. So I hope that helped. That's my primary use for that, bringing out or isolating a vocal or eliminating a lot of the song aside from the vocal as I'm mixing out to kind of make a good blend. I'm a person who loves blending. I just don't leave things alone. I make them match better as we go across, and the stems have really let me just finite tune that thing. So I love that. Sean Pruitt says he is creating plugins right now. I would love, Sean, if you have some good 64-bit plugins for some effects, send them to me and I'll talk about them on the show, because I'm always looking for new things for this, testing stuff out. If I'm correct on this, see if I can find my effects. I always forget where my effects are on this because I don't have them loaded, so I'm going to have to go skin, extra window. No, what do I want? Skin. I forget on this one the variations. So I want 2-deck big. Yeah. All right. So I have this many this many effects in mine. You're not seeing it. I didn't share that. I apologize. I thought I was sharing. Left screen. So let me move me out of the way. So I have this many effects in mind that I'm always testing stuff. So it's not just a couple. I go download. So if you have some, I would love to test them. Just so that's there. Just let you guys know that. Mutumba says, what is the best gain setup? I have problems when mixing with mixers and CDJs at the same time as DJs that run Serato. Every time I'm mixing, I always have to put more gain because my sound is low. Here's the thing, and this is not going to be much help to you at all. I'm sorry about that, but it's not going to be much help. In your settings, if you go in here under options, under gain, there's a choice on auto gain, and you can have no auto gain, remember, or auto gain and remember, and I run auto gain and remember. Reason for is that while I'm mixing, I never, not once, touch the gains. I let virtual run the gains song by song. So if I load a song and it's too low, virtual will take the knobs on the screen. Let me go back here. So just so you don't know, it's close. So it's auto gain and remember. But it will take the gain here and bump it. So I'm just going to load some songs, keep an eye right here, and see if I can get one that moves that a little bit, where virtual had said that maybe it needs to be bumped. So I'm just loading some stuff. Still on there. That one bumped it just a little bit. It must have thought that this one is just a little hot. And it, there's one that bumped it a little bit way. So I mean a little bit. This one seemed a little low, so it bumped it up. And that's literally all I do the whole night. Now, if you have volume issues, there's another thing to look at that you guys need to look at. That some controllers, and this is controller by controller, the Rain 1 and the Denon 7000 both will let your physical volume knob be separate from this digital volume knob. So if you have a controller that has them separate, you may need to bump this digital one up. So let's say your physical one is at 12 o'clock. You may need to bump this up. But controllers like the 1000 by Pioneer, they connect this and the physical knob together. So it's by controller how they do it. Most of Pioneers connect that. And I've found that I'm louder than everybody else when this is connected. But like I said, 90% of the time, I'll set this one somewhere, and I never touch gains the whole night. Not one time the whole night. Unless because the gain, and remember, sets it to a gain, but if you load the track and you feel it's too low or too high, when you move the gain knob, that's what the remember is. It remembers where you set it for the next time. So, like I said, I'm probably not much help for what you do, because I'll load up and I'll DJ with other DJs, and they're like, I can't believe you don't mess with that. Everything sounds the same. And I'm like, I told you, virtual does it right. That's all I gotta say. So I'm sorry that didn't help much there, but it probably didn't help much, but that's just the way I do that. Blue Sayans, I'm horrible with names. I teach our after-school program kids here in Texas from elementary to high school with the help of Walt White with after-school DJ and School of Beats. Awesome. Very cool. I've seen quite a few different people do outreaches and different things with DJing, to where, they'll get them to, if they want to come to their youth group, we're going to have a free day to learn how to DJ, or community center, or a block party, and, you can help DJ the block party and stuff. And it's kind of just, it's like you've seen, people like have a young kids, they teach them guitar and then they give them a chance to do a showcase. Well, this is this generation's instrument. So like when I was a kid, everybody wanted to be a rock star with a guitar. It's different now. It's DJing, and we kind of do that kind of thing. So that's good. That's awesome to hear that. You just taught me something I didn't know about virtual DJ. Did that. Cool, Sean. That's what I'm here for. That's what the show's for, is sharing my anal deep dive into some of this crazy stuff. Let's look at another one here real quick, and I'll hit the last question there. Facebook users. He said here, it says, for gain question, check the 0dB setting tool. I set mine to negative 306. This is a good one. Facebook user who just put this in there, FYI, for the gain question. This is a very good one, because I'm supposed to be doing that in between the questions, so they can cut them out later. So we're going to do that for this one here. So when you see this swoosh, basically means that our editors are going to then edit these down into short little videos. So we're going to take your question there here in a second. All right, the question that was asked, or the statement that was said in the chat from the Facebook user, says, for gain, check the 0dB setting too, because someone else was commenting that they have a problem with lower sound quality when they DJ on sets with other people, that he had to set his to a -3 or number 6, -6, to keep from redlining. Here's something I realized, and I have mine set. We're going to go to left screen and check this out. We're going to then bring this back up here. Hold on. Let me move everything back into view. And if we go to my options and we go to gain, and we are going to see, that's not, what is it called? 0dB. All right, so 0dB on this one set to default, but I know for a fact that on my DJ computer, it's set to -3. And this is how I had to switch mine to -3, and possibly this is something you might be having issues. So if it's set low, you might want to bring it back to 0. So if the one was having problems with it being too low, check that. But the problem that I had, like you did, that it was too hot. So when I switched from the 32-bit program to the 64-bit version of Virtual DJ, In Windows, there's two types of audio drivers. One is ASIO, if I'm saying that right. And the other one, I call it Wasabi because it's a lot of letters put together called Windows Audio Interface, blah, blah, blah. And in a lot of audio programs, the ASIO is being phased out in the Windows. The Windows is very new. So when I switched from the 32-bit to the 64-bit version of Virtual, it was peaking out really bad and really quick. And I ended up switching from the ASIOs to the Wasabis, and it solved all the problems. It became because it was like really sensitive on the ASIOs. So if I thought it was too low, I would bump it just a little, and it would be way too loud. And switching over to using just the Wasabis, again, if I have it here, I can show you that. Yeah, there it is. Switching over here. There's the thing. It's Windows Audio Sound Application something something. I can't think of what it is. But that's the one that when I started using it mellowed everything out and worked perfect. So that might be something you want to try, is switching which audio drivers you use if you're using Windows. Totally different for Mac, but that was an issue when, like I said, when I went from the 32-bit version to the 64-bit version, because I'm using the 64-bit right there. Oh, that's not even in the screen. Whoop, right there. 64-bit. That became an issue for me, and switching to that Wasabi changed everything. So check, like he said, that person said there, check both your 0 dB settings and check, try a different one of the other drivers. You have a choice. Most of them are in there, and you can try them both. It's up to you. DJ Barry Blends 420, my set will still crash during gigs. What should I do to my settings? When people tell me their thing crashes, I'm almost 100% going to tell them every time it's not the program. So I will start with questions. How new is your laptop? What else is running in the background? Because I shut everything automated off, and I mean everything off. If you're running a system that backs up your hard drive, shut it off. Anything automated, like your Wi-Fi, if yours is crashing, it's probably using up too much resources. Virtual takes virtually no power, because I have a Surface Go. And if you don't know what a Surface Go is, it's a Windows tablet, okay, that's small. And there's the Surface Go. I think they're up to Surface 7 now, but the Surface Go is the smallest one. It doesn't even have a high-end processor. It's a Intel Gold processor, which is really small, okay? And I can run Virtual DJ on that DJ from it without a problem. So it is not resources, because Virtual does not need much resources. So I'm guessing there's something in your computer that is glitching it out. And like I said, that could be stuff running in the background. I would also start with any cables you have. Try totally different cables. Switch out all your USB cables totally. Things like that. But most of the time, when you start pulling all that stuff back there, there's a good chance that one of those is glitching you out. And like I said, it could be searching for a Wi-Fi signal or a Bluetooth. Shut both of those off. Don't give it that power to go and do that. There's a thing on there called indexing, and where it's kind of indexing stuff as you change it. Make sure that's off. I run the Google Drive, and Google Drive backs up. Google Drive cannot be running when that's running. I know someone had a really nice Mac, but they were using the Google backup, and the Google backup was crashing. As soon as they shut the Google from doing automatic backup, everything went fine. So that's where I would tell you to start from. Moving on down here. What would you like to see in a plugin? Well, one of the ones that I always thought failed when it went from the 32-bit to the 64-bit is they had ones that were slip mode off. And these are basically like an echo. So you press a button, like, because the echo that I use now is that I hit the echo button and then I pull a volume down. Volume of the song goes down, echo continues. Echo out slip modes, when you press the button, it then automatically kills the audio and lets the echo go out. It was the same thing for the backspin. They had a backspin effect that you press it and it would backspin the song, and you could set the speed of the backspin and the length of the backspin. And they went to the 64-bit. Their backspin had no adjustments. So I would like to see a few things like that that are plain, like a plain echo or a flanged echo, but nothing over the top. Other people like to use some really heavy effects and pile them. I tend to stay really simple. That's kind of where I would start with that. So if you're taxing, what I'm looking for is kind of what they have, but a little better. I'm trying to even think what all I use. There's a cut. I can't think of what it's called. Chop. It's called, I'm going to bring it up here so I can find it. I think it's called chop cut. So it's an effect called chop cut, and you set it by beat. So anything that's going on there, it's like the old transform. So you're taking the fader and going da 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 da. There's an effect for that, but it doesn't let you set the parameters separate from the others. So in the Rain, if I have length of echo set, then my chop is set to that many. So if this is set to 32 beats, 16th of a beat, whatever, that is going to be set there also. I would like to see stuff like that to where I can leave this set at like half beat and then this one at 32 and keep them totally separate. So that's what I'm looking there for. Moving on down. Also ask him, is he just using it for DJ? I'm not sure. Sean, I'm not sure what you're meaning that towards. Oh, you mean using his computer for just DJing. Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff. He says he has a MacBook Pro 2015. That can be video issues because they were having some problems where is it that Mac that ties up video and other things? So you can have something tied up with Mac where it'll tie it up to another program and see which audio you're using, and if you're using the programs like your audio card from the laptop, or if it's using the audio card from the controller or mixer, because those can separate things. I know people that run mic and stuff off one, music off the other. That sometimes doesn't work well if you don't match them up. If you're using Pioneer, I really hate the way Pioneer, let me show you real quick here, the difference between the mapping on these. So if I can see the whole screen here. All right, so we're going to look at, let me figure out how to do this here. Mapping and show all controllers. So we're going to go here and we're going to look at the mapping for the Denon 7000. I'm sorry, I didn't want the mapping. See if it'll let me do it with the interface audio. There we go. So if I look at the Denon 7000, you're going to see a master, and sometimes there's only one master, one headphone, okay? And I'll pick another one here. I think it's running that as ASIO, master, and headphone. But, and I think it's still on this, the Pioneer DDJ 1000 SRT. Look how many things it's using. So it's running each deck as its own, multiple channels, and some of them are even further than this. So if you're using a Pioneer, it's splitting up stuff a lot more just because the way Pioneer does theirs. And that's one of again, I don't want to say I don't like Pioneer because everybody likes Pioneer, but they do a lot of little things like this that I feel fit certain types of hardware better, but you lose it on other things. So I would say look at that too. That's something to look there. Moving down here is always the Anna garbage. I don't know what that is there. So Steve, maybe you want to explain that. I removed my Norton antivirus and Virtual DJ works great. Yeah, especially if you're running Windows. Windows 10 does not need a virus, so I don't care if you have Windows 10 or 11, you do not pull all your virus software off of them. It is not needed. It is completely not needed. Windows, whatever they're calling that now, I can't remember what it's called, is you check with, if you don't believe me, go search on the internet. They'll all tell you the same thing. Windows no longer needs a virus software. So that'd be a good thing there. Sean says, like a stutter. It's kind of like a stutter, but a transform. Are you saying mixing by beat more than effect transitions? Both. Robin asked, let me do that one as a question. I think it's a good question. Okay, Robin in the chat asks, are you saying mix by beat more than effects transition? So I am layering everything together, and that's why when I talk about my classes, I talk about there's about 30 different ways to transition to songs, but some of them are simple as press the play button, one. So if you press the play button and echo the other one out, that's another way to do it. So you're layering these things. So I'm beat matching, I'm blending with stems, pulling stuff in and out, lightening the music on one to let the vocal kind of rise above on the intro on the other one, and then I'll hit the echo and then take the high-low filter and filter out as the next song's coming in. So I'm using all of those every time I mix. I'm building. So I can also scratch into that, drop in where I'm only using the stem of the vocal to scratch in. So it's now coming in on the outro of the other one. And then I, at one point, take it from being a cappella only to bring the beat in, drop the other one out through an echo, through a backspin, through anything. So there's a bunch of different layers, and that's when I talk about using those effects, you use all of them together. Echoes, backspins, flanges, chops. There's one that I use. It's called, oh crap, what's it called? Stutter? No, it's called Beat Grid. And Beat Grid, you can set it to where it kind of stutters, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I will use that on the out track before I cut it. So instead of it just going da-da-da-da and ends, I'm cutting it out where it's going da-da-da-da-da-da-da and drop it. So it's a mixture of all of those in those transitions, and that's kind of what that's all about there. So I hope that helps. If that's not, feel free to come back to me on that. So those, again, if you just tuned in, those when I run those, that's basically so our editors can pull these out and make them shorts later on. So that's when they look at the thing, they'll see that, and there'll be a little short there, a little bit going on here. Sean is saying yes. DJ Big Scully Gaming and Music. I use the Mixtrack Pro Effects, and I have no issues with Virtual DJ at all. I have as my backup the... Is it that one that I have? The Mixtrack Pro Effects? I think so. I think that's the one I have. And I love it. To me, as a small little controller, aside from things being small, it works great. I'm very happy with it here. Rich says Defender. Keep in mind that a lot of your chats are like 30 seconds after I say something. So I'm not sure whether you're commenting on something I say or something else is in the chat. So if you can, maybe say, hashtag MJ or something so that I know you're asking me the question or something. With School of Beats, we are switching from Denon Prime Go, switching to Denon Prime Go. I need to upgrade and have not used it yet. I want to ask Blue, are you teaching it as a standalone or a programmed piece of hardware, using a program on a laptop piece of hardware? Because I had the Prime 4 in the studio and had it for 15 minutes. And you understand, I've DJed with Denon equipment since the 90s. Had that in my studio for 5 minutes and knew I was done. And found out they weren't making any more things like the 7000, and I had to switch brands. There's a lot with the standalone that I feel has really fallen short of a lot of things. So if I want to add songs, simple things like this, I have to pull out the entire controller to add the songs. as opposed to just opening up my laptop or doing a download on one of the download services with my phone, and then when I open up my laptop, it then pulls what I put into a crate on that download service to the computer. The other thing is the opposite. With the Prime 4, when it's running as a standalone, if I want to delete a song, I cannot, this is what the crazy part is, I cannot delete it unless I hook it up to a laptop. So there are things like that that just drive me crazy. I would say 25 to 50% of the time I'm DJing at places that want video. I can't do that at all with the Prime series. At all. Unless I run a laptop onto the side. And again, if I'm going to run a laptop that much of the time, I don't want a screen there too, other than it's an extremely good backup. I love the idea of that being a backup. But I'm curious as how you're going to teach your students, whether it be, or both. Maybe you're going to teach them both as a standalone and as a with a computer. Now that the Prime Go you can hook a computer and software up to it. I just find them at this time very limiting, and that's why I switched over to the Rain 1, and I absolutely love the Rain 1. And no, I'm not going to switch to the Rain 4. I like my motorized platters, so I'm not switching to the Rain 4. I'm sticking with the Rain 1. I love it. Got it personalized. I'm really, really, really happy with it. Having a lot of fun DJing with it. So, yeah. Louis Vargas Entertainment says, love virtual DJ. That's why we're all here, right? Blue Sean says, both. We are following a steam of DJ counting beats. DJing a stem of DJ counting beats? Maybe you can explain that. I'm not really sure what that meant. Again, just to remind you guys, as you type stuff in, it's coming like 30 seconds after I say it, so I'm not connecting all the time. So maybe, say, this is in reference to. But, yeah, we still got some time. We're getting close to the top of the hour, so if you have any questions, I'm here for that. I think as DJs changing and the software we use, I've talked about this probably on every single show. I was told, I think it was in 2019, that Serato is working on a mobile version of Serato, which would go in tablets and stuff like that. And we've already seen some programs like Algorithm work perfectly in app form with both controllers and control vinyl. So it's very... not even a stretch to think that Serato is going to have the same thing, that Virtual is going to have the same thing. So I think as that changes, you're going to see people DJing with, tablets that have a terabyte, or maybe they have a plug-in, because you can get a terabyte mini little SSD now for like next to nothing. I think Dan paid $100 for one during one of the Prime Day things or something like that. So I told you about my little Surface Go tablet. I have a 400 micro SD card in there with all of my DJ library. So everything that's in my regular DJ computer is in that. So nothing is different. So as this technology changes, I think that we're going to see a little bit different. What I think we're going to see is a separation of the way people do things. So right now, the majority of DJs run a laptop and a controller type device, whether it be a mixer with something. But I think that's going to be switching because there are so many more standalones. So you're going to have the standalone community. You're going to have the controller and laptop community. You're going to have the vinyl and phase community, along with the Rain 12s and the 72 mixer. I think that then you're going to have the tablet DJs who are using that as stuff. So I think as this goes along, someone like me who teaches this stuff is going to have to learn all of those different forms, where someone is only going to be using, most is only going to use one of those. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out over the next 3 years maybe. Blue Science says, science technology. Oh, you're talking about that stems. Yes, I know what that is. Totally different. But yeah, so again, if you have this question, we still have a couple more minutes. But like I said, I think that as that develops, that's going to be interesting to see how that changes and what each of us is going to gravitate towards. I think there's guys out there that I meet from time to time that still DJ with CDs, and that blows my freaking mind. Like, I don't even think I've touched a CD in 20 years, and they're out there every week with them. So there's a divide, So I'm curious to see how it'll go, but I really kind of think as technology, as we come out of the whole shortage of chips thing, I'm not saying that we're back out of it, but you know what I mean? As it goes over the next 2-3 years, I think we're going to see some neat pieces of product come out. But I think it's going to be more specialized in each one of these as opposed to one device that makes everyone happy. Like something that has motorized platters and not motorized platters with a screen, but you don't have to use the screen, with buttons in the middle or in the outside. That's just not going to happen. So you're going to have to see a big difference of that. So we're kind of curious to see what's going on there. DJ Willie Will says, hold off buying anything, wait 1 year. I would say wait 1 year just for the prices to come back down, because used equipment stuff right now is through the roof. So if you can get a hold of something new, I would buy it new before I'd buy used, simply because the used prices are through the roof. It's everything's holding there right now. It's tough to get speakers right now. I have friends that are trying to get QSC stuff and can't. EV just come out with a new one that they're supposed to be able to ship right away, we've been told, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. We were told by reliable sources that it's shippable, so I don't know. Mikey Mike says, what do you think Virtual DJ will develop next? I think they're working on the mobile. They are definitely going after the CDJ and vinyl crowd. They've been working a lot with them. So if you watch any of the Virtual DJ social media pages, they're showing clips of people who DJ in that world, using it a lot more. They are now a sponsor, and have been past couple of years, of the DMC DJ battles. DJ Throwdown, who won it 2 years in a row, was a Virtual DJ user. So I think that's kind of a focus, that they're looking at people who go into that world. Because, again, the Serato mindset is different. Again, I don't mean to cut on Serato people, but you literally could, Serato could close down tomorrow, and the people who use Serato would never switch off Serato until they absolutely had to. So I don't think that they're going after Serato users. I think they're going after the next generation, saying, look what ours can do before you move to Serato, which is what I did. I tested all of them. Like, I literally wanted, what's the other one? Native Instruments to work, and it just didn't work as well. And when I came across I didn't like Virtual DJ 6. I hated it. I had written Virtual DJ off because I didn't like it. Went to the expo, and Virtual DJ was handing out test versions of 7 on disc. And I took it home, and I went, this is what I want. And that's when I started with Virtual. So I think Virtual's just going to keep doing what Virtual does. And I think a lot more people are going to go out there, and I think they're going to really specialize it for stuff. So I've been DJing, Sean Pruitt says, I've been DJing since 1983, and I've seen this industry change over time, big time. What I don't want to see is a robot replace the DJ. You're going to see, this is what I think you're going to see, Sean. DJs using DJ robots is what I think you're going to see. So there's going to be DJs there, especially like the wedding side. You're going to see MCs, hosts, entertainers, using something that's extremely automated or very automated from a remote. It's just going to happen. I know that, because a lot of those guys, their primary sell is their entertainment factor. So if they can have their entertainment factor and have a robot program, whatever you want to call it, do the work for them, that's what they're going to do. So I think that's going to be a big audience there. So. Do you have a video of how to adjust beat grids, especially for multiple BPM songs or premixes? I don't. I might go to youtube.com/disc jockey news and search for beat grids. I did some, because I know I put a video out there, but it might be in the DJ and TV education area, showing the difference of Virtual's beat grids on a song that has variable BPM, and beat grids on the fact of songs like a transition mix that is here at, let's say, 100, and then the transition brings it down to 80, and you can mark downbeat 1 on that as it changes downbeat 1, so you have the right BPM downbeat markers for both of those within the beat grid adjuster, because you can do variable in there. But for the most part, if the song has a varying BPM, like an older song, there's not much you can do about it. I tell everybody, go out and find a version of that song that someone has fixed. I can't tell you how many download services have versions of that. Some call it warping, because warping is how it's done in Ableton. There's other words they use for it, but look for ones that are fixed. What's it called? I can't even think of what it's called. A lot of people have it as what is it? Quantized is the other one. So depending on the program they use, quantized or warped, and like I literally have one here. Which was the one I just saw? Let's Stay Together by Al Green. And it has double A quantized edit. So that means they took that song and made it on beat. So when I play this one, the downbeats are perfect from beginning of the song to the end of the song. So you can just go out there and find them anywhere. Coming to the end here, gonna hit a few. Classy Christine says, and I like that name. Hello, I'm using Newmark Mixtrack Pro. I could not get my Windows laptop to switch over the sound card. Within Virtuals, where you choose that, I can show you that real quick here. And I'm guessing you know this, but just in case you don't, you pick it. Move this thing. There we go. So you're going to have these up at the top to choose from. So you have to decide that if you want the computer audio to run that, USB. Sometimes it will give you both to choose from. So you can have outputs, speaker and headphone. So that means that the controller is putting it out in 2 spots. You can run them as separate decks. Depending upon the controller, it will give you different ones of these to choose. And then from there, you're going to pick your master and all these things here to set it up the way you want that with the drivers on the channels, and then go from there. Again, some of them, like we talked about this earlier, the ASIOs, I do not recommend using them. I'm one that is now, especially in Windows, has switched to the Wasabis, and that's how I say it. Try that and see if that does anything. But that is a really easy plug and play. I'm not sure why it's not. I'd have to be there to look at that to help any more than that. So last couple here. We're almost top of the hour here. I teach all platforms, Virtual DJ, Tractor, and Pioneer Record Box, except for Serato. Never to my students. Nice, Sean. Again, I wanted Tractor to work so bad back in the day, but I just couldn't get it to do what I want. Yeah, thank you, Facebook user, for Quantized. I always blank on the 2 of them because I'm an Ableton user, so it's always warping. Fixing the Quantized is the main part of what us editors do. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times that I'm done playing an offbeat one and go and fix it myself, or just go and look for one that's fixed. It's not worth dealing with ever. Go and get what you need, period. Hello, Aaron, the DJ12. Thank you. You're not late. You're just fashionably on time. Kevin Smith's here. Hey, love some of your movies. Just kidding. Yeah, Aaron, Wasabi. That's how I pronounce that. But I know it's for Windows Audio, blah, blah, blah. But that's it. You pronounce it out. To me, it looks like Wasabi. So there you go. So that's about it. We are at top of the hour. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been a good show. You guys always come with some incredible questions. I never expect you guys to come with such good questions. I'm half the time thinking I'm going to answer the same questions each time, but I don't. You guys do great. So keep in mind, like I said, keep watching all my social medias, because I have DJ Michael Joseph on all the social medias, and then I also have my brand is IamMJ. So if you go to my website, it's 4 letters, IamMJ.com, and then all my social medias for as the book comes out and the artist side of things, all these other stuff, is going to be like for Facebook, it's IMMJFB. Instagram is IMMJIG. TikTok is TT, and so on and so forth. All of them are Twitter's TW. And there's stuff that's going to be coming out on all those. So if you haven't subscribed to them, please subscribe to both of them. I'm still going to post DJ stuff on the DJ side. I'm going to post some DJ stuff over on the IMMJ side, but you're going to see a little split. The website's going to give you multiple places to go to as opposed to just the where it is right now. If you go to IMMJ.com, the only one you'll get to go into from there is the DJ setup. But as that develops, keep an eye on this stuff, because I think it's going to be... No, it's not for image, even though that I have played with that. I got the website idea from years ago when I was a vocal performer. I had a booking agent that did really well for getting me on stages, and people who are big names would go, "Who are you?" And I'd be like, "I'm MJ." And that's how the website came from IMMJ. But some people call it image, and I may play with that later on in life because I've thought about that before. But yeah, so pay attention to all those, and also every single Monday night, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. on Disc Jockey News' Facebook. Dan, John, and I do the Monday Night Live chat, and we have some great ones. The one we just did last Monday night was about the top 10 songs that we have played over this past year, and I talked about the different versions of mine. So it's kind of neat to look at the different stuff that we say. Aaron Lassett, we call it. Yeah, image wasabi image. I get it, Aaron. All right, relax. So until next time, I always like to leave you the positive point. Take care of each other. It's a crazy world out there, and stabbing someone in the back is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. So take a breath. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Until next time, God bless.